Hi, my name is Brandy. I come to you today just showing you breathing techniques just to show you how to breathe this upcoming week during your yoga inspired sessions. This is just what I've learned how to use the Sanskrit Ujjayi breathing. Shout out to Erica Vetra. I love the way she explained it, so I'm going to explain it to you. And this is the best way that I've learned how to use my Ujjayi breath. You pretend like your hands are a mirror. And so you'll use your breath, and I'll turn sideways just to give you just a nice view. So you pretend like your hands are a mirror, and you use your throat breath to pretend like you're fogging up a mirror. So you'll, on your exhale. On your inhale, you'll pretend like you're defogging that mirror. So you're using that throat breath to do both. Exhale, inhale. But the only difference is, of course, you remove your hands, but you close your mouth. So you'll breathe and exhale. That's the sound that you want to make. I found that very helpful in my yoga classes. If I do a yoga class where there's other people, number one, if I'm concentrating on my breathing, I'm not thinking about anything else. And number two, it also helps remind the person next to you to breathe as well. So it's like you're bouncing off of one another. So you're reminding them to breathe, and then once you hear them, maybe my train of thought goes somewhere else, and them breathing will remind me to breathe. Another technique that I like to use when I'm concentrating on my breath, I try to think about my lungs, and I try to, on my inhale, inflate my lungs to max capacity. So I try to get a mental picture of my lungs, and I want to inflate my lungs outward. I want to inflate my lungs upward. I want to inflate my lungs downward, backwards. I try to inflate my lungs in every direction because that's how your lungs are. But I also try to envision my diaphragm. As I inhale, I want to push my diaphragm down. I try to envision that in my head. With my lungs, I try to push my diaphragm down. On my exhale, I try to release every single ounce of breath in my lungs. Now, there is 10% air still left in your lungs on your exhale, just to prevent your lungs from collapsing. That's just a side note, but you will never be able to get every single ounce. But that's the goal, is to get as much air out of your lungs as you possibly can on an exhale. So inhaling, so your shoulders don't come up on your inhale, your stomach does not inflate on your inhale. You want to think of just your lungs inflating and deflating. You don't necessarily want to, you want to try to keep that mental target in your lungs versus in your stomach or in your core or in your shoulders, because a lot of us breathe when we inhale, your shoulders go up, and you exhale, your shoulders come down. So you want to, like I said, and I'll repeat, you want to try to target just in your lungs. So you want to feel your lungs expanding on your sides, pushing your diaphragm down, and pushing up and pushing out and pushing back. That's where you want to target your breathing. Now, through breathing, when you get into a lot of tight areas in your body, let's just say it's knees or your hips or your feet or your arms, when you're inhaling and exhaling, you want to mentally envision that your breath is going to those tight areas, but you still want to concentrate on you inhaling and exhaling, expanding and deflating your lungs specifically, not your stomach, not your shoulders. And what that has helped me is keep me within the moment when I am practicing my yoga or when I'm meditating. As long as I am focusing just on my breathing, my mind doesn't go elsewhere to other things. So for that moment in time, regardless of if it's 5 minutes or an hour practice or an hour meditation, I'm solely concentrating on inflating my lungs, on just my breathing, and on just my ujjayi breath, and that in turn I am concentrating on the now, on the present moment. And so when I come out of my practice or come out of my meditation or come out of my sitting, I'm reset, and any decision that I'm trying to make or anything that I'm trying to conquer for the day, I'm starting anew, I'm starting fresh, I'm starting from slate zero, so I can make a sound decision about different things. So again, using your Ujjayi breath, if you have to use your hands, but that's just what you want to do, is pretend like you have that mirror and you're fogging and defogging that mirror with your lips closed. Now, another type of breathing that, and I'm not familiar with the Sanskrit name, or I am familiar, but I just can't remember the name of the Sanskrit name. Your breathing through your nostrils are on a circadia. It's on a time where you breathe out of one side of your nose for about 8 to 9 minutes, and then it's on a cycle, and then it switches over. I know that for me, when my nose is stopped up, it's never both nasals. It's always one or the other. So even with breathing that way through meditation, you necessarily can't. I'm not going to say you can't. But it's very difficult for you to do this while you're doing a yoga practice or a yoga session or a workout session. But you can take a thumb and you can take your middle finger and you can inhale through one nostril, take your ring finger and exhale out the other nostril. You can use your Ujjayi breath and you can swap it up. I've found that helpful just to help me get cleaner air within my body. Your nostrils, the hairs in your nostrils take out a lot of the particles, and it takes out a lot of the pollution that's within the air that's around you. So just doing that during your meditation, I find that very helpful in the early morning, just so you can get cleaner air within your lungs, which gets cleaner air within your bloodstream. And I just find that very helpful for you to, again, focus solely on your breathing, which helps you just focus solely on the moment, on that very, 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 very moment. I ran it on long enough. I hope this was very helpful. I hope that you could utilize 1, 2, or maybe all of the breathing techniques, but I would definitely highly recommend you utilizing your Ujjayi breath and focusing on expanding and deflating your lungs throughout the practice this coming week. I will be showing you a lot of the moves from yesterday's video. I know it was a time lapse, but I will be going into detail on specifically a few of the moves, just so you can get into those moves. So using your Ujjayi breath, or the breath that I showed you, will help you get into a lot of those poses that I showed you on yesterday's video. If you do have any comments, questions, or anything like that, please feel free to email me. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have, and I'll see you in the next video.